I recorded a previous video of this. I just ended up being really passionate, overly passionate, and I became angry. That's what it was. I became angry. Hey guys, my name is Edrian Pangilinan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if this is your first time, please do consider subscribing down below and the note bell to be a part of the family. I'm good at really talking concisely, but I'll keep going. Today's video will be about my thoughts and sentiments growing up as a Filipino American. And the reason why I really want to do this is because well, first of all, this month is the Filipino American History Month, and I have been feeling extra charge for representation, especially when Trump became our president. I recorded a video. I recorded a previous video of this. It was great and all, but I also realized that it went to a route that I don't think was necessarily good for me. I just ended up being really overly passionate. I became angry. That's what it was. I became angry. And although yes, I have those feelings of resentfulness and very bittersweet feelings, I've decided to center this more on my gratitude to be here, my gratitude to have had a better life, my gratitude to be close to my dad's side of the family, my gratitude to be able to really have the opportunities to live my dreams. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so as I have told you all, I tried to take notes. My little moleskin over here. My little moleskin. I was also trying to look at my YouTube secrets for some inspiration. Then lastly, I actually also had written some notes over here. Random mail that I got. Look at this, look. See, I'm so random like that. I just write my notes everywhere. Look at this one over here. Hold on. Wait. Help me get to 1,000 views. Anywho, that's not the point. Well, that too, but actually the notes are over here. There you go. It's right over there. So I'm just gonna bullet them down so we can have so y'all can have a better context of what I'll be talking about. And I promise I will try my best to not make this long because I'm good. I'm the king of making long videos, so I'm working on it. Okay, so growing up as Filipino American, bittersweet, extremely grateful, suppressed feelings. Ooh. A huge part of my identity. I am an artist because of my culture. Thankful to have had the opportunities to stay in touch with my roots through teleseries, TFC, songs, and media. AKA through DFC. If you don't know what DFC stands for, the Filipino channel, which is the international broadcasting network of ABSCBN. And because of that, Filipino channel has really helped me stay grounded and stay in touch with my roots as a Filipino by creating programs, really content that shows the love, the talent, and the compassion of Filipinos throughout the world. Also, I was watching Prince Chris Matt, so I'm gonna tag him down below. He did this video about a year ago, so I was really late, but after I saw his video, then I became really inspired to create this video. Please forgive me if I tend to jump around from a tangent to the other. That's just kind of how my brain works. So May 2, 2001. Oh wait, yeah, I think that was the day that we left the Philippines and also arrived here in the United States because of how the time zone works. Just some overall sentimental feelings about that. I was 9 years old when that happened. I guess I was at that age where, I was growing up, yet still a kid, basically, still a kid. I just remember my life in the Philippines being very adventurous, being fun, rambunctious. I really got to have a great childhood because of my parents. My dad was here in the States working already, and then my mom was a nurse, is still a nurse, but was a nurse in the Philippines. So yeah, I didn't have my parents all together until we moved here, but because of their love and their sacrifice, all of us were able to have a great childhood in the Philippines. I just really remember community. I think community and love was such a strong thing that really resonated with me with my experiences as a young kid in the Philippines. I remember playing a lot of games outside, getting dirty, not caring if I was dirty. I was friends with a lot of people from different walks of life, especially people who lived in poverty in the slums. And you know, back at that age, I didn't really realize and I didn't really have an idea of what that context was yet. All I knew was that they were my friends and I really cared for them. You know, going back to the point, I just remember getting a news from my mom that we were gonna, or my dad actually, when he visited, like every so and so in the year, that we were gonna migrate and move. And that was the first time I've ever moved, and it just happened to be that we were moving across the world. So, you know, at the time, although I obviously didn't have any idea of what was to come and how my life was forever going to change, I was also really scared. Like, I already knew how scared I was because, you know, I had to say goodbye to the life that I knew here, you know, this life of freedom, this life of joy, this life of being surrounded by my mom's side of the family, you know, the Formentos. You know, I was heartbroken, in other words. In the upcoming months, as we were getting ready to leave, I just remember as a young kid starting to kind of brace myself for what was to come, you know, saying goodbyes, the despedidas, the big parties, even saying goodbye to my friends at school. Yeah, it really sucks. It really sucks that social media didn't exist back then, because I actually believe that all of this would have been so much easier back then. But anywho, going back to the point, you know, goodbyes, you know, the day came. I remember it was like, I think maybe early in the morning, like 4 in the morning. It was still dark. We had to, I think we went in a Jeep, or I rented a car, I don't even remember. But I just remember everyone from my barangay, which I forget, I lived in Mandaluyong City. See, I'm all over the place. Mandaluyong City in the Philippines, M. Cruz. Everyone was there. Everyone came outside to say goodbye, and I just remember crying, profusely crying. I could not stop crying. Then we got to the airport, had a lot of downtime. Apparently not running on Filipino time, thank goodness. But, and then, you know, we were just hanging out, mellow, still bracing myself, and then it was time for us to go in. And I think I was with my best friend at the time, si Ate Andrea. She was there with us, and my Ate Iching, my auntie, my mom's sister, youngest sister. She was there, and I just remember like crying like a baby. I could not stop crying. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to get on. But deep down inside, I had to, because, well, I was leaving with my family. So, you know, that was really the first time I felt this heaviness in my heart. And that was also the first time I started to feel the weight and the heaviness of immigrating, basically leaving your country for a brand new life, a better life. I'm sorry, this is all over the place. I'm gonna try my best to wrap it up. So we arrived here basically very cold, you know, very cold. Probably around midnight here in San Diego. I just remember riding a van, big van with a lot of people. They dropped us off at Plaza Boulevard, you know, in Hometown Buffet. It's still there, by the way. I remember that. So that was almost 20 years ago. So yeah, I just remember saying hi to my relatives here, kind of cold in all sorts of aspects. You know, I was like, I've never met them. You know, we had just literally arrived from the Philippines, and me being kind of kengkoy, kind of. So basically, the first 3 years that we got here, you know, was with my nanay Waning. So thankful for her taking us in, but that was also when my life really started to change, because in the Philippines we had yayas, we had you know, I guess also called as kasambahays, because they lived there. You know, we really had the good life. We really had the good life. And then when we got here, everything changed. Like, I had to learn how to clean. I had not necessarily learn how to cook. That didn't, well, I'm still learning how to cook, so that's another story aside. Now realize that I really had to assimilate to the life here. Like, the life that I've known there ceased to exist when I moved. You know, those first couple of years as a young kid, getting to my preteens, early teenage years was really, you know, it was really a transition. I just felt like that overall experience seemed more lonely, because, you know, in the Philippines, you could just go outside and talk to your neighbors, go to their house, play games or hang out with them and chit chat with them. But here, when we got to the States, it was very like everyone was to themselves. Like, I realized that, wow, this is really cold. It was really hard for me to assimilate, and quite frankly, it took me a very long time to really feel comfortable. I think that's why I tried my very best to resist the assimilation that happened. My siblings, well, because Mika was younger, she was only 5, my brother was like 11. He's my older brother, and I saw him assimilate real quick. I was like, what happened? It just got to the point where I was like, everyone around me had like assimilated to the life here in the States, and for me, I was trying so hard I resisted, basically. In other words, I resisted. I wanted to keep my heritage alive in me. Then that's when we get to how TFC, the Filipino channel, really plays a huge part in that, because thankfully they also have TFC too. I'm so glad. Salamat nanay, Esther. Salamat nanay waning nanay, especially during those times of being lost. So I am extremely grateful. Wow, second point, extremely grateful for the role that TFC played in literally helping bridge the gap from the Philippines all the way to the United States. And by any means, this video is not sponsored. However, if they're watching, well, no, this is not a sponsored video. But as I was writing my notes down, it literally dawned on me on how much TFC really played a huge part. So anywho, because growing up in the Philippines, my parents would basically keep us in and they would not let us go out. So obviously there was just a TV, and I was like, what's this? And I was like, wow, so dramatic, and with all these teleseries. Because when I got here, I would also do the same thing. Now I literally had to do the same thing, because that was all I could do as a young kid. And this was definitely shortly before social media, kind of became a thing. All you had was TV, read a book, talk to people, that good life actually. When we got here, I was also watching Pangako Sa'yo, Sa Dulo ng Walang Hanggan with Claudine Barreto. I really tried my best to, stay intact with my roots, and also the music. I remember listening to, and I still do, I still listen to a lot of Filipino OPM, original Philippine music. That's really helped me find comfort in living here. Yeah, I mean, just the programs that they would show, whether that's a teleserye, it's a talk show, it's the news, Oh wait, okay, so before I forget, because of that too, I've been able to keep my language. Marunong pa rin ako mag-Tagalog, even though clearly as I'm talking right now, and it's so weird to actually have this realization that I'm very Americanized, even though I stutter kind of sometimes. Because of that, I've been able to keep my communication alive, basically. Been able to meet other Filipinos here, especially the ones that had just literally immigrated here from the Philippines, which are my favorites, because then it's like, I can finally talk to someone that I could relate to. But it's funny, because then they'll also tell me that life is hard there. And as I've gotten older, then that's when it really started to dawn on me of how, as like traumatizing actually. As traumatizing as that whole experience was, just to pack up my life and leave there, I'm also very, very and extremely grateful that my parents really did the best that they could to give us a better life. And I'm just speechless, so thank you, mom and dad, thank you, maraming salamat. And then also on the other aspect of it, so there's the kababayans, people who know to speak Tagalog, people that I can relate to. There's also, I guess, the I don't know how else to say this, but the Filipinos who grew up here, whether they're first gen or second gen, but mainly people who people that don't know the language, and that are very Americanized, just some like overall context about that. I literally grew up having a hard time being able to relate to them, because in my head I'm like, oh, they're Filipino, but then they're different. I'm like, even as a young kid, I would would already tell myself I can't relate to them because, well, first of all, we don't speak the same language. They grew up here. Like their way, our way of thinking are, you know, different. I mean, honestly, that's just been my overall sentiments, and which has sadly caused, you know, a wall in for me to be able to, you know, reach out to them and to be able to connect with them, because there, you know, sadly there's that, you know, communication barrier. There's a slight culture barrier because, you know, my experiences in the Philippines doesn't necessarily translate to their experiences here growing up as Filipino, or being born here or growing up here as Filipino Americans. But thankfully that was a long time ago. So, you know, fast forward to now 2019, just 2019 actually, I am now finally making peace with all of these feelings that I have, and have now made more of an effort to open my heart more and myself more, to reach out to, you know, my other fellow Filipino Americans basically, and connect with them, and, you know, in hopes to, you know, really help bridge the gap, because yeah, to help bridge the gap, because I now realize how important that is, how really important that is to not just bridge the gap between, you know, being Filipino and being American, and also finally reconciling with my own trauma and also suppressed feelings of just having to, you know, leave my life behind just abruptly to move here. You know, moving forward, this is really important for me to do, because I feel like if I don't do this, that I'm never really going to be able to make peace with this side of me, this aspect of me being a Filipino American immigrant. So just to be able to really finish all of this tangent off, you know, when I really started to learn about that, then that was when it really clicked to me that we were all different, and that we are seen and viewed and treated differently. So if anything, I think I've had more of my racial discriminations as I've gotten older as of now. So, you know, I wish I could say that this was a happy story, you know, but, you know, this is my life, and, you know, it is like what I always tell everyone, you know, we are all masterpieces in the making. This video is just a very small percent of this masterpiece that's being made. I really believe that I'm coming from a place of love and just wanting to express myself. So, you know, and this is also my first time opening about it. I feel like I've barely begun to open up this part about myself, and of course, you know, when having suppressed feelings, it can feel like a hurricane. So a lot of these emotions, these words are coming out. So you know, thank you all so much for watching the video. Thank you all so much for understanding where I'm coming from. And if you don't, you know, that's okay too. Thank you for watching the video anyways. And I really hope that, you know, through this me sharing my you know, experiences, that this has also given you the permission to start sharing yours, or to even start reflecting on it, because I feel like not just Filipino Americans, but also as immigrants in general, we have our stories that we need to share. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Mahal na mahal ko kayo, and see you guys at the next video. Bye!